Part 9. The Flash Drive. Ryan, run! Eden's voice barely reached me over the chaos. The station had erupted into panic. People were rushing towards the exits, luggage rolling behind them, children crying as security guards shouted instructions. I clutched the small flash drive so tightly that the edge dug into my palm. This was what Olivia had died protecting. One of the men spotted me. There, without thinking, I ran. I pushed through the crowd, apologizing as I bumped into strangers. Behind me, heavy footsteps echoed across the platform. "They're gaining on us!" Ethan shouted. A train screeched into the station just as its door began to close. "Ryan!" I jumped. The door shut inches behind me. One of the men slammed his hand against the glass, glaring at me as the train slowly pulled away. For the first time all day, I could breathe. I looked out the window. The man didn't move. He simply watched the train disappear into the tunnel, almost as if he knew this wasn't over. 20 minutes later, Eden and I arrived at my apartment. Every curtain was closed, every door locked. I placed the flash drive carefully on the table. Neither of us spoke. It felt wrong somehow, as though opening it would change everything forever. "You ready?" Ethan asked quietly. I nodded. My laptop hummed to life. I plugged in the flash drive. Only one folder appeared. For Ryan. My throat tightened. I clicked it. Inside were dozens of files, photos, voice recordings, scanned page from Olivia's notebook, and one video. Its title was simple: "Watch Me First." I stared at the screen for several seconds before pressing play. Olivia appeared. She was sitting beneath the old oak tree where we'd first met in college. She wore the blue sweater I had always said was my favorite. For a moment, it didn't felt like a recording. It felt like she was really there. She smiled. "Hey Ryan," tears instantly filled my eyes. "If you're watching this, then my backpack plan actually worked." She laughed softly. "I always told you I prepared for everything." Even now, she could still make me smile. Her expression slowly became serious. "I wish I could tell you this in person. I wish we were sitting at our favorite cafe instead. But if you're seeing this, I ran out of time." She looked away for a moment, collecting herself. "Ryan, I never lied to you, but I did keep a secret. I wasn't protecting myself. I was protecting everyone whose names are written in that notebook." She reached beside her and held up the brown notebook, the one everyone had been searching for. "I copied every page. If you're seeing this video, then the copies are already on this flash drive." I looked at Ethan. He looked just as stunned as I was. Olivia continued. "The people chasing you don't want the notebook. They already know what's inside. They want something else." I frowned. "What?" I whispered. Olivia reached into the notebook and removed a tiny folded piece of paper. It was no bigger than a postage. Part 10. The Last Secret. Olivia held the tiny folded piece of paper between her fingers. She smiled sadly. "I know what you're thinking. What's so important that people would chase us for it?" The answer is nothing. I frowned at the screen. Olivia continued. "The notebook isn't valuable because of money. It's valuable because of the truth." She slowly unfolded the paper. "It contains the name of the person who caused the accident." I held my breath. "But this isn't about revenge." Her eyes filled with tears. "It's about making sure no one else loses someone they love the way I lost my future." She took a slow breath before continuing. "If you're watching this, Ryan, then you have probably blamed yourself." I looked down. She knew me too well. "You have probably wondered if you should have answered my call, if you could have saved me, if one different choice would have changed everything." She gave the smallest smile. "It wouldn't have." Tears rolled down my face. "The truth is, I was already being followed before I recorded that voice note. I knew I might not make it home, so I made peace with one thing." She paused. I wasn't afraid of dying. I was afraid of leaving you with questions. The room felt silent. Olivia looked directly into the camera as if she could somehow see me. Ryan, do you remember our first rainy day together? I smiled through my tears. Of course, I remembered. We had missed our bus after college. Instead of running for shelter, Olivia had stood in the rain with her arms stretched wide, laughing while I complained that we would both catch a cold. She had looked at me and said, "One day this will become your favorite memory." She was right, it had. Olivia laughed softly at the memory. "You finally smiled. Good. I was hoping you still could." She wiped a tear from her cheek. "That's one last thing." She reached behind the camera and picked up her phone. I recorded another voice note that night. My heart stopped. "Another one?" "It never sent. I guess you'll never hear it." She shrugged gently. "Maybe that's okay. Some words are meant to stay between the heart and the person who says them." She smiled one last time. "If I could tell you just one thing, I would tell you not to let my last day become the reason you stop living your life. I loved you, Ryan. I'll always. And wherever life takes you," she smiled, the smile I had fallen in love with years ago. "Don't overthink it, okay?" The video ended. The laptop screen went black. Neither either nor I spoke. The silence in the room wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with Olivia. Then a small notification appeared at the bottom of the screen. "Hidden file detected." I frowned. I didn't click anything. Neither did Ethan. Slowly, a new folder appeared. Its name was only 3 words. The last voice note. Part 11. The voice she never sent. Neither Ethan nor I moved. The folder remained on the screen. The last voice note. For a long time, I simply stared at those 4 words. My hands were trembling. "I don't think I'm ready," I whispered. Ethan looked at me. "You have been waiting for this since the day she died." "I know. But what if hearing it is the moment I have to say goodbye for real?" He didn't answer because there was nothing he could say. Slowly, I double clicked the folder. There was only one file. 2:17 a.m. Duration 3 minutes 42 seconds. 3 minutes 42 seconds, not 47. The message I had heard before had been cut short. This was the complete recording. I closed my eyes and pressed play. For a few seconds there was only the sound of rain falling against a car window. Then Olivia laughed quietly. "You can probably hear the rain. I know you're smiling. You always said rainy days belonged to me." A tear escaped my eyes. She remembered everything. "Here, Ryan. If you're listening to this, then I guess life didn't go the way I hoped." Her voice was calm, no frightened, just honest. "I wanted to tell you this in person. I even practiced it." She laughed at herself. "I know, I rehearse everything." I smiled through my tears. There was Olivia, always rehearsing presentations, always rewriting birthday cards, always worrying that the words wouldn't be perfect. "I have loved you for a very long time. I think you already knew that, but I never wanted I love you to be the last thing you remembered about me." She paused. "I wanted you to remember how we laughed, how we danced in the rain, how we always stole my fries, even though you ordered your own." I laughed, a real laugh, the first one in weeks. Then her voice became softer. "There will come a day when you'll hear my voice for the last time. I wish it wasn't today. But if it is, promise me something. Don't stop living because I stopped breathing." The room felt silent. Even Ethan wiped away his tears. Olivia continued, "One day you'll meet someone who makes you smile again. When that happens, please don't feel guilty. Loving someone new doesn't mean you loved me less. It only means my love did what it was supposed to do. It helped your heart keep beating." I buried my face in my hands. She was still thinking about me, even in what she believed might be her final message. She was trying to protect me. Then she whispered something so softly I almost missed it. "I wanted to grow old with you. I wanted a little house with too many books, a dog you insisted would be tiny, but would somehow become the biggest dog in the neighborhood. I laughed through my tears again. We had actually argued about that. She remembered everything. I guess dreams don't always end the way we imagine, but that doesn't make them meaningless. The rain grew louder. So, this is goodbye. A long silence followed. Then, for the very last time, Olivia smiled. Ryan, thank you for being my favorite chapter. And whenever life becomes too heavy, don't overthink it, okay? The recording ended. No static, no interruption, no mystery, just silence. I stared at the screen. The title of the file suddenly made perfect sense. It wasn't called The Last Note She Never Sent because she had never recorded it. It was called that because it was never delivered. Until now. Part 12, Final Part. 1 year later, grief doesn't disappear, it changes. At first, it feels like drowning. Then one day, you realize you have been breathing without thinking about it. A year passed. Some mornings were still difficult. Some songs still made me stop walking. Some rainy days still felt impossible. But I kept the promise I made to Olivia. I kept living. Every Sunday, I visited the little cafe where we used to spend hours talking about books we would never finish. The waitress still remembered us. The usual? She asked with a smile. I nodded. 2 hot chocolates. She looked at the empty chair across from me, then back at me. Without saying a word, she placed the second cup on the table, just like she always had. Olivia's flash drive changed everything. The information she had saved helped reopen the investigation into the accident. The truth finally came to light. It hadn't been the simple accident everyone believed it was. The people responsible were held accountable. Justice couldn't bring Olivia back, but it finally allowed her family to breathe again. For the first time in months, her mother smiled without forcing it. She hugged me and whispered, she'd be proud of you. I wasn't sure, but I hoped she was right. One rainy afternoon, I found myself standing beneath the old oak tree where Olivia and I had first met. The same bench, the same dress, the small smell of rain. I sat there for a long time. Then I reached into my backpack and pulled out a brand new brown notebook. The first page was blank. I smiled. Olivia had always believed every ordinary day deserved one beautiful sentence. Maybe it was my turn now. I picked up my pen. After thinking for a while, I wrote exactly 7 words. Love never ends. It simply changes its home. I closed the notebook. At that exact moment, my phone vibrated. For one possible second, my heart hoped. I reached for it. It wasn't Olivia. Just a weather notification. Rain expected in 5 minutes. I laughed to myself. Still sending me rain, hmm? The first drop began to fall. I didn't run. Neither would Olivia. Instead, I stood there, closed my eyes, and let the rain soak through my jacket. It no longer reminded me only of goodbye. It reminded me of every laugh, every walk, every voice note, every memory. And then, almost without thinking, I whispered into the rain, I kept my promise, Olivia. I kept living. The wind carried the words away. Somewhere above the clouds, I liked to imagine Olivia smiling, that quiet smile I had fallen in love with. Maybe she was listening, maybe she wasn't, but somehow I felt at peace. As I walked away from the oak tree, my phone played an old voice note by accident. Olivia's laughter filled the air. Then came the 5 words that had once broken my heart and now helped heal it. Don't overthink it, okay? I smiled through tears. No, I whispered, I won't. And for the first time since 2:17 a.m., I walked forward without looking back. That's the end of the story. Thank you.